Hello, and welcome to Introduction to Ball Jointed Dolls Part 5. How do you buy a doll? There are 3 ways to buy your doll. As a full set, which means the doll comes with an outfit, eyes, wig, and accessories like hands or shoes, and so forth. Full set dolls also usually come with a face-up, which means their face is already painted. Or you can choose a basic doll. Basic dolls come bald and naked, although usually they do have eyes. You can pay extra to have a basic doll with the face-up added, or you can get the head blank and paint it yourself, or pay someone else to paint it. Finally, a few companies offer dolls as a kit, where the doll is not strung and is completely blank. Kits used to be a little bit more popular, but nowadays not a lot of companies offer them. Zoom offers them at Christmas. They're usually a little cheaper, but they do involve more work because you have to put the doll together by yourself. You can order a doll from about 3 places. Directly from the company website. Some companies have order periods for a specific doll that only last a month or 2, making the doll a limited edition. You might have to rush or do a layaway if you want a doll that is only available for a short time. Most companies have their dolls available all the time, or have a mix of limited and standard or always available dolls. They might call their open orders full choice system, a la carte, or basic. Once you order a doll, there's usually a 1 to 3 month waiting period, although in unusual circumstances it can be more. A few companies offer layaway plans, where you pay in installments, although if you do that, you might be waiting a really long time, as the company may not start making your doll until you've completely paid it off. You can also order a doll through a dealer. Denver Doll, Junkie Spot, and Mint on Card are popular dealers in the United States, and there's also a few others. Make sure you read reviews of the dealer you've chosen so that you know if the dealer has a good reputation. A lot of sites on Amazon and eBay that look like dealers are actually scammers, and I'll talk about that next. Finally, you can buy a doll secondhand from another hobbyist. This is very common, but again, it's an area where there's the potential that you'll get scammed. The upside is that you get the doll much faster, as it's already been made, and the price is usually similar to the company price unless the doll was a limited edition. The downside is the scam potential, but we'll go over that. Price range. Dolls can be expensive, very expensive. At the height of the strength of the Japanese yen, a Volks SD17 full set could set you back $1,800. Volks also does charity auctions, and their charity dolls regularly sell for over $10,000. That, however, is the extremely high end. By contrast, a 40cm resin stole Ya blank is only $140. There's a large list of dolls priced at $300 or less. How can you save money if you want to buy a doll? If you're just thinking about getting into the hobby, you might choose to buy a 40cm MSD size doll rather than a 60cm SD. They're a bit smaller, which makes them less expensive, but you still have a large variety of looks. If you like the baby doll style, you might choose a 26cm doll. You can also put together a hybrid doll, which means a more expensive head, usually, on a less expensive body. This has to be done secondhand, and you need to look carefully at the measurements and resin colors of both parts. As you choose your doll, don't just go with what's popular. There are a million mini fake Chloes, and she's very pretty, and I owned one myself. But that doesn't mean you need that exact doll. In fact, you might find that people are more interested in seeing a doll they've never noticed before. Take a look at less popular companies to find some real bargains. You can also choose to save up for the one true doll you really, really want. That means cutting down on spending, but it'll also mean you're headed for a nice treat for yourself in the future. Also keep in mind, most people who are in the hobby don't have lots of dolls. Start with one doll and get that doll all kitted out before you go and buy more. Unlike Barbies, BJDs are not mass-produced. Each one is made individually from molds. In addition to paying the artist who sculpts the doll and the artist who casts the doll, you also have to pay the photographer who takes the sales pictures, the website manager, the translators, the customer service reps, and so forth. Resin has higher potential for accidental waste than plastic does, is more fragile, and has to be finished to a higher quality. There is a lot of work in a BJD, and it is fair to pay people for the work that they do. In addition, BJD companies are very small. Many are just one sculptor and a few people doing the casting. Even Volks, the largest company, is tiny compared to other big American companies. It's headed by a husband and wife team. Ippelhaus's translator went on maternity leave, and the face-up artist had to answer the English Q&A board for her, so their orders slowed down. As you get more interested in dolls, you'll find out a lot more about the artists who create them, which is really fun. You may come across BJDs advertised on Amazon, eBay, Alibaba, Taobao, and other sites. Watch out. These sites aren't offering authentic dolls. They're selling bootleg dolls, also called recasts. Unfortunately, as the BJD hobby has become more popular, ripoffs have become more popular too. Recasts are dolls created by molding an original doll and making unauthorized, unlicensed copies. These are a big problem in the hobby. They reduce the possibility of selling dolls secondhand, and they take sales money away from the artist who sculpted the dolls in the first place. They are sometimes created from lower quality resin than real dolls. Recasts are ethically wrong. It's the same as going to an artist alley at a convention, buying a piece of artwork, photocopying it, and selling it yourself. You know that you are not the artist. You're not supposed to be making money off of it, and you shouldn't be paying a scammer instead of the artist. Furthermore, recasts are not allowed in most parts of the hobby. You cannot post a recast doll on the largest English doll forum, Den of Angels, and recast dolls are not welcome at most doll meetups. Some people buy recast dolls on purpose. This is a bad idea. Experienced hobbyists will be able to tell that a doll is recast. It's a good way to get yourself banned from the community. To avoid accidentally buying a bootleg doll, watch out for dolls that are priced much more cheaply than their company's sale price. Look at the original company's website to figure out how much the doll should probably cost. Watch out for dolls labeled with multiple company names or sold by shops that sell multiple different companies' dolls. So, for example, 1/4 Zoom Fairyland Lutz BJD. Zoom and Fairyland are not the same company. One doll can't be both of those things at the same time. Also, the 1/4, 1/3, those are terms used by collectors, but most companies refer to their own specific sizes. So Fairyland is never going to talk about their 1/4 doll because they have a name for that and they call it their own name. Sometimes bootleg dolls are not the right color. So for example, you might find out that the company makes their dolls in white and normal skin. A doll that's gray is either dyed, which should be revealed when you're buying it, or it's a recast. Don't buy that doll. Finally, be wary when buying dolls secondhand. Places like Facebook and Instagram allow people to change their names, and there's no way to find out feedback about each seller. Buying secondhand is a great way to find a doll at a reasonable price, but prices can vary. Most dolls cost about the same secondhand as they do from the company, if they're brand new. Dolls that are older, yellowed, or damaged are usually a bit less than a new doll, but not as much less as a prom dress from Goodwill versus a prom dress from Macy's. Dolls are what's called a durable good, which means they are expected to retain value over time, losing it slowly like a car. And just like cars, many hobbyists sell their old dolls to buy new ones. This is where a buyer on a budget can find a good deal. Some dolls do go up in value, especially if they were limited when they were first sold or are old enough to have become rare. Before buying a doll, research what the doll cost new from the company and use that as a starting point for what to expect to pay. A doll that is priced much, much lower than what it costs new is an indication that the sale might be a scam. You can save money by making a hybrid doll, but this requires extra work and research. A hybrid doll is usually a more expensive head on a cheaper body, although sometimes it does go the other way. The body can be covered up by clothes if it's more blocky or bulky, but a doll's face usually shows. To buy a hybrid, you must research if the head and neck sizes on the head and body will match, and you have to find out if the resin color matches, or is close enough to fix with a face-up or blushing. Hybrid buying is usually for more advanced hobbyists, and it can be a real pain, but it is a good possibility and a way to save money. When you're buying secondhand, you need to ask for clear photographs of the doll. There should be photographs of the full, unclothed doll body and close-ups of the head. Check to see if the doll body is yellowed, cracked, chipped, or dirty. You can clean a dirty body, but it's hard to fix a cracked kneecap that might get worse. If the doll has a face-up, check to make sure that the face-up isn't bubbled, flaking, scratched, or dirty. Check to see if the head is cracked, chipped, or dirty. Check to see that the head cap has a head plate, if the company provides head plates, that is, and that it's the correct head plate for the doll. Some companies have different colored head plates for different dolls or mark the head plate with a number. Check that any markings or stamps inside the doll's head and body are clear and deep, not blurry. If the company sends certificates of authenticity, COAs, ask for a picture of that. And if the company gives unique serial numbers, use their website to make sure the serial number is authentic. Many dolls ship with photographic stringing guides, fancy company boxes, and so forth. These should all be photographed if they're included in the sale, and the seller should be able to explain why the COA or other paperwork is missing if it is. It's important to make sure that the doll you're buying is authentic and in an appropriate condition for the price you're willing to pay. You can choose to buy a doll that has damage, but that doll should be less expensive than a doll in perfect condition. You will also need to negotiate the type and cost of shipping with the seller. Make sure that insurance is included in the shipping price. You never know when a mailman might drop your dolly. When choosing to buy secondhand, you're entering into a financial transaction through the mail with a person who is probably basically a stranger. You have to trust that the person will ship out the doll and that you can get your money back if they don't. Most doll sales use PayPal, the buying or selling goods option inside PayPal and not the friends and family option. There is a fee for the seller, which should be paid by the seller and included in their sales price or stated openly in their sales post. Don't use friends and family to send money. It doesn't have a fee, but there is no way for you to ask PayPal to give you your money back if the seller never ships. PayPal has a 45-day time window for goods transfer. With a company, it's sometimes more, but when buying a doll that's already made, the seller should be able to ship within that time window, usually within a few days. If the doll doesn't ship on time or arrives broken, you can start a PayPal claim, which takes the money back from the seller if possible until the issue is resolved. It's not a flawless system, but it's better than nothing. You should also look for a doll marketplace that allows people to leave feedback about the dolls and sellers. The seller's feedback should say that they packed the doll appropriately, that they shipped on time, and that the doll arrived in stated condition. It's great if the feedback says that the person is nice, but it's more important to know that a person can be responsible. For you as a buyer, you might not have a lot of feedback yet. It can be helpful to buy a few small items secondhand, like clothes or wigs, before trying to buy a doll, so that sellers know you won't do a PayPal claim on them after the item arrives or have buyer's remorse and try to return the item. You cannot return doll sales items. Other hobbyists are not stores. They are people. Please don't argue with them about prices. Please don't ask them for free things. That's just kind of rude. And especially, like I said, you cannot return a doll. Once you've bought it, you have to sell it yourself if you decide you don't like it. If you find a doll you like on Tumblr, Instagram, etc., you should ask the seller if they have a sales post on Den of Angels or eBay, just for safety purposes. If they don't have a post there, you could ask them for their feedback thread on Den of Angels, eBay, Etsy, or other secondhand sales forums. If the person has no feedback anywhere for any buying or selling activity, it might be time to move on. They could be a scammer. They could be trying to sell recast dolls as legit. They could be trying to sell the same doll to multiple people. They could be trying to sell a doll they don't have at all. No matter how nice they might seem, make sure you protect yourself and your money by only purchasing from people who have feedback. Okay, some cute pictures to break up all that seriousness. These are some of my dolls. A few brief dolly care tips. There's also a lot of other information about this. Watch out for nail polish. It can leave colored streaks on resin. Make sure you put on lots of clear nail polish on top of your regular polish. Or use gel polish, which is a little more secure, but again, with lots of clear on top. Magic eraser can be used to remove marks on resin. Especially if you put dark colored clothes on your doll, you might get a few little black spots, and you can usually rub those off with a magic eraser. Do not use a magic eraser to scrub hard on the face-up because it will remove the face-up. This is the same as if your doll has body blushing, painted hands, painted nails, and so forth. Don't scrub those really hard with a magic eraser. A magic eraser is fundamentally a very, very fine grit sandpaper. So you will be sanding off the face up if you rub it too hard. Your doll's wig, if it becomes tangled, you can use a toothbrush to tame the wig on the doll's head or to move pieces of hair out of her face. To detangle a long wig, take them off of your doll's head and use a comb, which will pull out fewer hairs than a brush does. There are a lot of cosplay tutorials about wigs, and most of the concepts apply to doll wigs. You just have to figure that the doll wig is on a smaller scale. You can join the doll community, especially if you'd like to find out more information. Den of Angels is the largest English-speaking doll forum out there. They have a large marketplace with feedback for users so you can shop more safely. Membership is moderated, so it might take a day or two for your application to be approved. Photo hosting site Flickr also has a pretty big doll community with groups for different types of dolls, groups for weekly or yearly photography challenges, and so forth. I am on there as snowgray.beautywhite. Tumblr, Facebook, and Instagram also have doll communities. Your mileage may vary. Some people on those sites are nice and some are not, so be careful. It's okay to block people. The hobby is for fun, so don't spend your fun time interacting with people you don't like. And finally, you're welcome to come to a doll meetup. You can go to a meetup even if you don't own a doll yet. My local area has BJD meetups in the city, as well as a group in the suburbs that has fashion and Blythe dolls too. You can find a group of people that feels right for you. There is some etiquette for meetups. Like all social gatherings, prepare for a bit of awkwardness if you're new. Remember to introduce yourself and compliment people's dolls because that goes a long way. At the meet, you must never touch a doll without asking. All dolls are fragile to some degree, and it's important to be careful. Similarly, just like you wouldn't want a stranger to grab your purse or backpack, lots of owners might not want a stranger to touch their dolls. Some people will let you touch your dolls, but others won't, so be respectful of whatever each owner says. If someone does let you hold or touch their doll, make sure you do not touch the face. Face-ups can be damaged by dirt and oil on even the cleanest hands, and most people see their face-ups as irreplaceable works of art. So don't touch their faces. Most meetups will allow you to take pictures of the dolls, but it's polite to ask first. When you take pictures, try to frame the shot so that no human faces are in the background. Some people don't mind being in pictures, but other people have reasons to keep their face off of the internet, so please be respectful. Finally, find out the policies of the group about ages and food. Some groups are all ages, some don't allow small children, some require 18+. The host of the meetup gets to decide those policies. Similarly, some meetups request that people bring snacks, and others do not allow food. Again, find out first what the host wants. You can contact me if you have further questions. My email address is snowgray.beautywhite@gmail.com. I'm on Flickr under username snowgraybeautywhite, and I have a Tumblr at snowgraybeautywhite.tumblr.com. I can also be found on Den of Angels as Snow Gray. Generally, but not all the time, Snow Gray is me. I have an Instagram account that is Snow Gray White as well. Snow Gray on Instagram is a person who's not me, just FYI. All right, for the video, if you leave a comment below, I will try to answer it. And thank you very much for watching.